Imagine the world we know without computers. I can almost guarantee that all of you have a smartphone on you right now.
Some of you are probably even texting through this podcast.
That little piece of technology you have in your hand is 32,000 times faster than the best Apollo-era computers.
That doesn't mean you can go explore space by putting your phone on airplane mode. Comparing the two is a comparison of technology worlds apart.
However, they aren't completely separated. That phone is the evolved version of the world's first computer. While their purpose was drastically different, the modern cell phone shows how we created something out of nothing, evolved it, and then became completely dependent on it.
Computers used to only be utilized for scientific and medical reasons. Now, computers fuel the modern culture in a good portion of our lives through programs and social media.
Thanks to a few entrepreneurs who started the top computer companies, Apple and Hewlett-Packard, inside their garage, life today would not be as advanced and technology-driven.
This is the story of how computers got to where they are today and the impact they have on our daily lives.
The start of a new era, a technology that would become so great that it will enter the lives of billions of people. This technology started as a simple addition of subtraction by Bell Laboratory scientist George Stibitz, who created the adder Model K.
This was an engineering breakthrough. He created the first machine to think like a brain.
Later, in 1939, Packard and Hewlett founded the first computer company, creating the first product, the 200A audio escalator. It was built for engineers and kept from the public eye.
Soon, in 1940, the complex number calculator was demonstrated at the American Mathematical Society conference. It revealed the first glimpse of remote access computers.
As the Second World War rolls around, the German Z3 computer was the first ever computer to handle complicated formulas such as aerodynamics. It was a game changer in the war, but was soon lost in a bombing.
The Allies, on the other hand, countered the encryption of Nazi messages through a machine called the Enigma. The Enigma was the first machine to run through data and produce an output based on the results, which is also decryption.
In 1942, the Anasoff Berry computer, ABC, otherwise known as, was the first computer to create a basic platform that was later recreated in other computer styles.
As the war continued, the first computerized defense system was created. It directed guns towards targets based on coordinates.
After these programs ran, John von Neumann thought of and wrote a paper on the stored program computers that led to lectures on computing.
This was the first ever class on computers. It inspired the later ENIAC. The ENIAC weighed 27 tons and took up 1,800 square feet. Imagine that in your living room.
The computer is now at the start line of entering every home in America. The first ever commercialized computer was the Era 1101, made in 1951, which held 1 million bits or 125 kilobytes.
To put that in perspective, the audio size for a paragraph is only around 10 megabytes, not even in the ballpark for the Era 1101.
About 3 years later, IBM released the Electronic Data Processing Machine. It was rented for $15,000, and that was 1954. It played checkers, but jump-started the large market of our computers.
3 years later, the keyboard input device was created. The keyboard that is on every laptop or PC was formed by the marvelous brains at MIT in 1956. It changed the cost and efficiency of direct input significantly.
By 1960, the first ever computer to play music was built, and its name was the DED PDP-1A. With a name like that, I bet it flew off the shelves.
Except for the fact it was over $120,000.
Finally, an actual named computer, the Atlas, was the first computer with virtual memory. It was the first step into creating memory on a computer to back up the data saved. It is basically the start of what is today, the disk drive.
2 years later, AT&T launched the first commercial communications satellite with the Telstar 1 into orbit. This is the start of what would eventually be the power to your navigation systems.
In 1964, the first processor and core memory was created. One of the most important parts to any computer, phone, or any major computing device is a processor.
The CDC 6600 was the first ever and computed a revolutionary 3 million instructions. Today we use multiple processors like quad-core or dual-core processors that compute 150 million times faster.
More power now means more possibilities. Lawrence G. Roberts had this idea of going coast to coast with dial-up. He performed the first long-distance dial-up connection between two computers, which was huge, unless you compare it to today.
Today, that is just the same as sending an email from your computer to someone in China. Then it took a bit to get there, where it is instantly sent to someone today.
Later in 1969, the base for which all things are searched or created online was introduced as the Internet by UCLA.
In the same year, the first ATM went into service. This is the beginning of online and digital transactions at convenience. This will change how we obtain money.
Remember when we said that the ENAC weighed 27 tons and took up a whopping 1,800 square feet in 1946? Only 25 years later, Intel created the first microprocessor, which was only the size of your thumbnail, and later what would become the small circuit board in your phone that runs anything your phone does today.
Also, in 1971, the first email is sent. It is the first messaging system to send messages through a network to other people. Email today is the base communication system right under real-life conversations and video chats.
Think about the words real life. We use them to contrast the digital world and the actual physical world because of the impact these systems and services has changed us.
20 years later, the World Wide Web was released. You see and use it every day. Can you guess what it is?
It's the www before any domain name on the internet.
Soon, .com becomes a top-level domain as well as .gov and .org, which President Bill Clinton started.
And in 1995, the .com boom hits the public, with companies and domains being created through the internet from 95 to 2001.
Phones, on the other hand, were just getting good, and in the year 2000, the first ever camera phone was introduced. The start to what would create the selfies and allow us to upload videos, pictures instantly while being mobile.
A year later, in 2001, Wikipedia was created. Whether you deny it or not, everybody has used Wikipedia to obtain facts or other information by a quick search through Google or other engines.
The next year, Google search was introduced. If you had a question that you asked someone and they didn't know the answer, they would just say, Google it.
In 2004, the Facebook and MySpace was created, allowing users to create profiles and post anything they wanted to a feed that other users could see and respond to. There are now over 1.7 billion Facebook users that logged on in the second quarter of 2016.
It's safe to say that our society and culture revolves around social media and profiles.
In 2005, YouTube is founded, the video platform that provides entertainment and how-tos to the internet. It has allowed us to learn and perform tasks by watching someone teach and show us rather than read from a book.
Hashtag Twitter was created. Hashtag 2006. Hashtag give us an A.
Twitter was created in 2006. Just turn on the TV. Any news, sports, or TV show allows users to be involved and connect through Twitter by hashtags.
Although not as big as Facebook with 313 million users, it has grown to be one of the most life-affecting social media platforms there is.
And in 2007, the iPhone was released. An Apple product, it became the most popular cell phone today, with an Apple receiving $1 billion in sales in July of 2016.
In the same year, the one laptop per child is introduced to public schools that gives each student a laptop. Around 50 years after the first commercial computer was released, a laptop was in every child's possession.
2 years later, in 2009, virtual currency known as Bitcoin boomed. Bitcoin gained a large value of $1,200.
In 2011, the app Picaboo, or today what is known as Snapchat, was released. Snapchat is a social media and message-based platform that uses pictures and short videos.
It is the ultimate platform for sharing your life through a camera, and that's exactly what 150 million users are doing.
In 2015, Apple released the Apple Watch. Not only did it tell time, but it could receive and view messages and use some other apps. It also touched your pulse and could be a fitness watch as well. This can change and detect any issues in your body and improve your overall health.
From a computer that is larger than some houses to a small device that can go on your wrist, computers have changed the way we live by giving us the ability to go digital.
The modern society is almost all digital, having everything from our phones to control our homes and even driving our cars.
Computers haven't just affected the functional aspects of our life, but the social side too.